In this video, we're going to take a look at potential Fade, KO, and Chamber nerfs coming in the near future. What's going on, ProGuides family? It's your host, Sergeant Frost, bringing you guys a news update. Today, Riot released a brand new State of the Agents address that gives us some key insights on some upcoming agent changes that they're planning. Along with that, we will be getting the class of the upcoming Agent 21. Let's not waste any time and hop right into it. So, Riot dropped a big piece of information regarding the next agent we can expect this year. As of right now, the only thing we know about Agent 21 is that it is confirmed by the devs to be a controller agent. The devs acknowledge that they know the controllers are in a bit of a drought right now, and it's been a very long time since we've gotten our last new controller agent. They wrap up their statement by saying that they don't want to flood us with too much info on the new agent right now, but we will be learning more coming soon. From our observations, we should probably expect to see this agent in Act 3 of this year, as it will be too late to introduce a new agent into the middle of the act right now. But we will keep you guys updated on everything Agent 21 going into the future. Speaking of keeping tabs on new agents, if you are a player that struggles with mastering current agents, then we may be able to help at ProGuides.com, where we have Immortal and Radiant level coaches who are more than eager to help you learn the ropes of any agent, so that way you can dominate with them in your games. The link is in the description if you're interested. Now, let's get to the rest of the State of the Agents. Getting into the agent changes now, Riot prefaces their article by addressing some of the issues surrounding agent balance throughout all the classes this year. They talk about the rise of KO, Breach, and Fade in the Initiator role. They mention how Chamber is starting to become a bit too powerful in the Sentinel role as he overshadows his peers. And they bring up the conversation on how they decide when an agent needs to change and monitor if they think that they hit the mark with their updates. So, what agents are in Riot's crosshairs at the moment that might be in need of balance changes? First up, let's talk about KO. The Riot devs explain that they haven't shipped buffs for KO despite him being one of the weakest by the numbers agents and win rates in the game for most players. On the contrary though, KO has a high pick rate and win rate in pro play, which makes him an ultra valuable pick in a competitive setting. Unfortunately, players in solo queue aren't able to capitalize on KO's strengths, so this puts the dev team in a tough position. Do they buff KO even more to bring up his value in solo queue while also running the risk of making him completely broken in pro play? Or do they manage to tweak or nerf him to bring down his value in pro play, but at the same time they run the risk of plummeting his stock in solo queue, making him worse than he already is? The devs mention in their article that from their collected data that his abilities are strong and pro players are able to utilize his kit well in game, and he doesn't feel weak when the devs internally test him in their studios. But the problem is, any changes they would intend to make to KO would aim to make him more intuitive and accessible without increasing his potential that he already has in pro play. In our opinion, Riot has a big decision to make for KO. They could leave him alone and let him continue to be average and ranked but become a god in pro play, or they could change him to make him weaker in pro play while still trying to make him fair in solo queue. Time will tell as we see what the Riot devs do to steer KO's development path. Riot makes a quick statement about Fade, saying that there has been competition in the Initiator role, in the space where Sova used to dominate, which was the recon and info gathering space. They mention that they are happy for players to have variety and more choices in the role, but they do mention that they think there are areas like clearing spaces and holding sites where Fade may be overperforming in the meta. So in the future, the devs may explore potential tunings for her utility. Now, let's shift focus a little bit and talk about our favorite high pick rate Sentinel, Chamber. So the devs start off their Chamber section by acknowledging that they know Chamber is still a problem even after his nerfs. The devs talk about how Chamber's rank stats are nothing to be alarmed about in terms of win rate. The effects he has on the game's ecosystem is negative though. His pick rate goes up dramatically as players get better at the game, and the community's perception right now is that he is too powerful and he's become a must pick on more maps than the devs would like to admit. So the devs are planning on tackling this issue by nerfing Chamber in ways that should make the drawbacks of picking him sharper, with the intention that the best players shouldn't always gravitate towards Chamber. It's rumored that Chamber's rendezvous could be getting changes in the near future. The devs didn't spend too much time talking about Cypher, but in the article they did mention briefly that they want to bring Cypher back up to speed in the Sentinel role. They aren't aiming to overbuff him to make him a force of nature in the meta, they just want to change him enough where he is competitive with his Sentinel peers and not completely obsolete. Riot did mention in their address that they are happy with where Phoenix is at in the meta currently, as he seems to be powerful in terms of a winning agent and ranked right now. They will continue to monitor him in the future to make sure he doesn't fall behind his duelist counterparts again like he did in the past. But for right now, Phoenix is in a solid spot as a solo queue stomping duelist, and the devs are happy with him filling that role right now. Well guys, that's all we have for our State of the Agents run through. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing to our channel. Also, don't forget to check out ProGuides.com to gain some access to some truly amazing coaching. This has been your host, Sergeant Frost, and good luck on the grind this act.